Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Better Than Food Book Reviews. I'm your host, Clifford Lee Sargent. Hope you're doing well. Great to see you as always. Let's talk about a book. Get that coffee. And speaking of, today I'm going to follow up and deliver on a viewer's request from the Baudelaire review from nearly a year ago. That took way too long, but I needed to get into the right place to film it, so better late than never, right? Eric Mark said, you should do a video roasting coffee. Talk about books. Read a poem or two. Let us see your process. Everyone will have a good time. That was a great idea, Eric. Really appreciate it. I'll spare you the poems, but I will talk about a book. Today I'm going to discuss The World Atlas of Coffee by James Hoffmann. It's no secret that I love coffee, and I obnoxiously demonstrate this in about every single review I do. I also roast it as a hobby, and as a way to save money, and as a way to try different coffees from all around the world. I also send it out to patrons of the show for the Book and Coffee Lottery. So Balzac drank coffee, Kierkegaard drank coffee, Voltaire, Goethe, and Beethoven drank coffee. Apparently for Beethoven, it was said to be the only indispensable item in his diet. He was apparently fastidious in his preparation of it. He used like exactly 60 beans every morning or something. He was very, very meticulous about his coffee. I never knew that until the research for this review. Bach drank it too. He wrote the Coffee Cantata. Try saying that 5 times fast after having a cup. I did hear about that, but I recently listened to the Coffee Cantata, and I don't know, it just gave me this weird, goofy feeling of zest in the morning. And of course, David Lynch, as we all know, is an enormous coffee enthusiast who has his own brand, I believe. What does this tell us about coffee? Not much, other than it was enjoyed by some of the greatest minds in history. I love exploring new cities I go to by way of coffee shops, you know. Plot out where the best coffee is, and just go and check that out. It's cheaper than eating out, and you get to see so many different parts of the city. And you can go at just about any time in the day, and you sort of get like a feeling for people in the city. You get a feeling for the energy, for the vibe, what's going on. You know, is it ultra techie, or is everybody behind their laptops? Is it more like slowed down, like second wave? Is it more like, you know, is it weird and unusual and kind of experimental, or kind of like ultra classy? You know, I love coffee shops, and I love the culture around coffee. So today's author, James Hoffmann, is a British world barista champion, an author, and also, as I discovered in the writing of this review, has a terrific YouTube channel. Should you be looking for a coffee-focused YouTube experience, I don't think you could ask for a better channel. It's awesome. I think that's great supplementary material for reading this book. The World Atlas of Coffee appears to be a comprehensive examination of the coffee plant, its history in the various regions where it's grown, as well as the different methods of roasting and brewing. So you have a bit of botany along with history, along with brewing techniques. It's a pleasant, informative read, all about what is, in my opinion, the greatest beverage ever produced by humans. I love the book because you get to see the entire journey of coffee, from the plant to the cup, and because you get to learn the history behind it in all the countries listed. It explains the growing, harvesting, processing, grading, buying, shipping, roasting, and perhaps everybody's favorite part, of course, the drinking. And coffee can taste very different depending on where it comes from and how it's brewed. And there's a second edition that was recently released. This is the first, but I've linked to the second one in the description box below, and there are more countries in there, I believe. So there's also, I think, a trailer for it, which I'll link as well, so you can check it out. This was great, but I'd be interested to read the updated version. You know, Rimbaud was the first European man to oversee coffee trading from Harar, Ethiopia, that famous city, which nobody had access to. He somehow got in there and oversaw that trade. And I thought that was very interesting. So there's a literary connection there for you. You'll learn about the difference between the coffee plants, Arabica and Robusta, and about interesting things like the most expensive single estate coffee ever to be sold, which happened to be from Panama, the 2013 geisha variety from Hacienda La Esmeralda. Although that's changed since then, I believe, because that was a few years back. And so now the most expensive was the black ivory coffee from Thailand, which went for $500 a pound. God damn. Is it worth it? That's a good question. Second was Finca El Injerto for $500 a pound, so they're tied. And then the third was Hacienda La Esmeralda, $350 and 25 cents per pound at an auction, to be exact. You'll also learn about what's important when preparing coffee, and what not to skimp on if you really want the best flavor from your beans. Y'all want to taste some beans? The book also helps to dispel confusion about terms. The story behind mocha was an interesting discovery. You see, up until this point, I had always assumed that the term mocha had something to do with chocolate mixed with coffee, probably because of Starbucks. This is from the chapter on Yemen, which has been producing coffee on a commercial basis for longer than any other country. So, the term mocha. Originally, the word referred to the port in Yemen from where coffee was exported. This spelling soon changed to mocha, M-O-K-A, and the term was used to describe the potent and pungent coffees produced in Yemen. Some naturally processed coffees from other countries are still described this way, such as Mocha Harar from Ethiopia. The coffees from Yemen were often blended with coffees from Java, and the Mocha Java blend was born. However, the name was not protected, and thus became a kind of stylistic term used by many roasters to describe the flavor of a particular coffee blend they created, rather than to describe where the component coffees came from. The current use of the term mocha to describe a mixture of hot chocolate and espresso only serves to further bewilder the consumer. Yeah, how that happened, I don't know. You also get to learn the difference between a cafe latte, a cappuccino, a flat white, a macchiato, and a cortado, which is one of the few coffee-based drinks that didn't come from Italy, but actually came from Spain, the cortado. Now you can go annoy your local barista. Also, the Kopi Luwak coffee, which is famously made from the digested coffee beans from the excrement of civets, has, according to Hoffmann, led to some pretty unethical and disgusting practices of animal abuse, keeping them in cages and force-feeding them. So don't buy that stuff. You can just Google that. It looks like bad news. Just stay away from that whole fad. There's a boatload of information in the book, and if you're interested in getting in the business, or just roasting, cupping, and tasting as a hobby, this seems like a great place to start along with Hoffmann's YouTube channel. Alright, so now I'm going to take you through my whole roasting process. It's not complicated. This is my approach to roasting coffee. Very simple. You can do this at home. You can buy this online, and you can start as soon as it arrives with your coffee. I've linked to the machine in the description box below. I've linked to a fancier version, an updated version than the one I have. I'm just behind on everything. I hit the beans with some high heat until first crack, and then I just cool it down for a few minutes. You can create your own roast profiles and go as in-depth with your experimentation as you like. For me, I keep it pretty simple. So make sure you're in a ventilated area, near a window or in your garage with the door open. Use a fan. Do not plug the machine into an extension cord. Make sure you're plugging into the wall. By no means is this legitimate technical advice. I am not affiliated with any of these companies. I am in no way responsible if you start fires. Please be safe. So hello everyone, we're about to roast some coffee. So here's the green coffee, unroasted, from Sweet Maria's, who are out of Oakland, California. I think they're awesome. I'm not an affiliate, but I put a link in the description box below. Here I'm measuring out 1 pound, 16 ounces to roast in the BEHMORE 1600 Plus, for which you can find a link for in the description box below as well. This is an older one. Now they have a fancier, updated version. Looks like a big toaster oven, doesn't it? First off, you want to warm it up. Put it on a 1/4 pound roast on high heat for a couple minutes just to get everything ready. You want to press that P5, make sure it's blinking. After a couple minutes have passed, you turn it off. You open it up, you take out the chaff tray, which catches the loose chaff, the coffee skin, and the drum. Open that guy up and pour in the coffee. Takes a little bit of getting used to. I would actually suggest you practice taking it out and putting it back in and setting it in properly before you roast your first batch. So then put it all back in, press the 1 pound button, and then start, and P5 for the high heat, make sure it's blinking, and then we're off to the races. Okay, so don't leave the room. You have to monitor the temperature of the roaster, and if you don't press the start button at a certain moment in the roast time, it will automatically shut down and your coffee will be fucked. When you're roasting 1 pound, this comes at the 4-minute 30-second mark. You'll have 30 seconds to press start. It'll start blinking like this. It's a safety mechanism so you don't forget about things and then they catch on fire and burn the house down. And then your coffee's fucked. So the whole process for roasting takes about 20 minutes or so. Sometimes I read, or beat on the guitar. But you want to monitor that temperature because if it goes over about 331 degrees Fahrenheit, it will also shut off, and your coffee will yet again be fucked. You see, there's a lot of ways to fuck up your coffee, right? You gotta be careful here. I want to hear that first crack, which is a signal that it's about finished. If you go to second crack, you're going to have quite a dark roast. To get the most unique flavors out of the beans, I like to do lighter roasts, but it's all preference. Yeah, you can start to hear it. There it goes. First crack. Beautiful. So I let it go up until about 320 degrees Fahrenheit or so, and then I switch it down to P3, less heat, to finish it off. I actually missed it a little bit. See, it's already at 325. Getting really high up there. I almost missed that, but we got it. Now I'm just gonna pull this out. Done cooling. Blow chaff everywhere. Pull out the tray. You should have gloves or something for this, but I'm taking the risk. Here's the most complicated maneuver of the whole thing. I have to balance it in there. I I am somehow able to open it, and I place it all in there. Et voila. There you go, into the colander to cool, and now the fun part of cleaning up all the chaff. I recommend you let your freshly roasted coffee sit for at least 12 hours before drinking. I believe it takes a few days for it to reach the best flavor, but of course, I'm never that patient. Now this thing is really the coolest part of the review for me. This is an affordable way to make espresso at home, or on the go. Like you can take it to your hotel or your Airbnb if you're traveling. This thing is called the FLAIR, and it takes a few tries to get used to, but it's seriously worth it if you're a lover of espresso. Basically, if you want to make espresso without spending hundreds of dollars and having this giant machine that you have to clean and maintain, this is the next best thing. By no means is it a substitute for a well-crafted La Marzocco, but it does a trick for home brewing. It is sold on Amazon, so if you use the link in the description box to purchase it, the channel gets a kickback and I really appreciate it. Okay, so first off, you want to warm up this thing. I don't know what it's called. It's what's going to hold the water. I just put it in some hot water there. Then you want to grind your beans. I usually do between 15 and 18 grams. And then you tamp it down and then put the little lid on top there. And then you place it in the little holder, right? Then you take your thing that was warming up and you stick it on top there. You place it in the holder on the FLAIR. And then you pour your water in there, right? You gotta hold that with your hand, make sure you're balancing it properly. And then take that plunger, you place that in the top, set it in there. If you put in too much water, a little bit might spill over and you might burn your hands, so be careful. Then you just align that properly with the handle, right? And then make sure you got your cup under there. And then you pull it down and something magical happens. Oh yeah. And I think you want to go for something like 24 to 40 seconds or something like that. But there you go. Then you can drink the espresso that you roasted yourself and read Balzac. It's a good life. Better than food. Now it's time for the coffee lottery. As I was saying before, the coffee lottery is where I take all of the names of the patrons on Patreon who have donated $5 or more to the show, and I place their names in this mason jar, and I pull out a name for every review, and whoever's name I pull out, I send them a hard copy of the book I'm reviewing plus a bag of coffee roasted by myself, like you saw in the video. Unfortunately, international shipping is not included. If you would like to get in on that, you could click the link in the description box below or head over to patreon.com/books-are-better-than-food and donate $5 or more per video. Thank you very much. If you do so, you will also get access to the Better Than Friday newsletter thing. It's kind of inspired by Tim Ferriss's 5 Bullet Friday that I send out every Friday. It's just a list of things that I'm currently interested in, whether it's film or music or books in the pipeline, all kinds of stuff. It changes from week to week. And if you donate $1 or more, you'll get access to the patron-only reviews. And thank you very much to all the patrons who have supported the show. Really appreciate it. All right. Is that it? So much stuff to say. Best of luck to all the patrons. Thanks a bunch. Okay, here we go. Who's it gonna be? Maria. Thank you so much for the support, Maria. I really appreciate it. You're going to be getting the World Atlas of Coffee by James Hoffmann, plus a bag of coffee roasted by yours truly. And that is all I've got for you today. Please subscribe if you have not already, and please shoot this over to all the coffee lovers that you know. And always remember, bring a book wherever you go. You never know when you'll have some time to finish it. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Bring it to the coffee shop. Eventually it adds up, and you're reading more books. Great to see you as always. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.